So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the last session of this bootcamp 2024. And today we are going to talk about module 10, which is create and manage workspaces in Power BI service. So far, what we have seen in the previous sessions is everything we worked on Power BI desktop itself. We haven't worked on a kind of like Power BI service. So we'll go through that one by one, and what is the workspaces and how we can share the Power BI report which we created into other people's. So first of all, what is a workspace here? Workspace is kind of centralized repository, we can say. It's a kind of a place where we usually used to share our files in OneDrive or Google Drive kind of thing. So if you want to share the Power BI report, then it has to be published into, upload into certain places. From there, we can share with other colleagues in Power BI within our company. Whatever you're developing it on Power BI desktop, everything is free for you. Power BI desktop is also free. You can get the data from different sources and then you can build your report. But when it comes to Power BI service, if you are using it for your own purpose, then it is free. You can create your account and then you can publish your reports inside to that. But if you want to share your report with other users, like for example, if your colleagues on the company, at that time, both of them need to have a Power BI Pro license. So licensing is a separate story. So maybe we'll discuss that in future, or you can check out the Power BI website on that. So we have a Pro license, premium per user, and then Power BI Premium. And now with the introduction of Fabric, so future new customers need to buy the Fabric license. So in that case, you need to have a license, or you can use the Fabric Premium license, or you can use the Power BI Premium license in order to share the Power BI with other colleagues in your organizations. And also you can add multiple reports into one single workspaces, and from there you can share your reports on that. And benefit of workspace is like share and present report in a single environment, enable the highest level of security, and environment for hosting reports and dashboard for other users. That's okay. So this slide, what you are seeing up here, is actually the old one because Microsoft is keep on updating the UI and features on Power BI service. Now with the introduction of Fabric, they have modified a little bit on the UI front. So right now I just logged in here to my Power BI account, where you can see it on the top right. I have this Adnan and we have a pro license on that. Right now I'm using a trial version, so that's the reason showing up here trial period here. So on the left hand side, you can see we have workspaces options. When you click on that, then these are the list of workspaces showing up here, which I have access on that. And on the bottom, you can see we have option about new workspaces. So this will be only applicable if your admin has given you the access. If your admin has not given you the access, then you may not be able to see this option to create a new workspace. Either you can request with your admin that they need to create a workspace, or ask them to give you the access so that you can create a workspace by yourself. So like creating a workspace is also has to be restricted to the admin kind of thing, what I can say. The reason is because if you give open hand to the users, then every user can create their own workspaces. Even though every user gets by default one workspace, which is my workspace here. If they want to do something, then you can load here and test it out. But to share with other users, they have to be shared on a specific workspaces on that. So here, when it comes to creation of the workspaces, usually it has to be 3 different workspaces. That's what we usually prefer. It has to be development, test, and production kind of thing. Like regularly how we have application development management, lifecycle management. Similarly also, we need to adopt the same methodology. So it can have a development, which is mainly for the developers, and the business people, those who want to test the report before going into live, then they can use the text workspace. And then we can finally use the protection. From there, we can share the report with other users. So I will also show you later part about how we can navigate from development to test to protection. And there is an option available for that. So this is all about. And for generally, the scope has to be like, it should not be too much cluttered. Like we can create hundreds of workspaces and finally we get confused about which we need to use. At least it can be segregated by domain level. So it can be like sales domain, HR domain, finance domain kind of thing. We can adopt based on that, and then we can create each and every department has to be a development, test, and production kind of workspaces. So if you go to the, for example, if you are an admin and you want to restrict the data something to the other users in order to avoid creating of workspaces, for that you can click on the setting, which is on the top right, and then at the bottom you can see we have an admin portal. So once you click on that, then you will see multiple options available under tenant setting from left menu, and here you can just look for workspaces. So here you have option about allow tenant and domain admins to override workspace assignment. That's okay. So here you have option about create workspaces. So right now this is enabled for every people in the organizations. And the setting is also the entire organizations. So some people they can disable this option or they can enable only for a specific group of people. The IT team, the main IT team can create a workspaces for you. So in that case, they need to create a workspace and then share it with you. So this is how you can enable or disable the settings. Now, when it comes to creating a workspace, you need to click on the workspaces from the left menu and then click on new workspace at the bottom of that one. So once you click on that, you will get a screen on the right hand side. You need to give it a name here. So for example, I like to give the name here as Bootcamp 2024 and then 01. This is just an example. And if you want to write a description of that particular whatever report you are going to load on that one, then you can add that options. So additionally, these recent updates from Microsoft, like 1 year back, they have created a domain here. So domain in the sense like if at all if you need to create multiple workspaces and into the same domain, like for HR, you want to create two different HR reports. One is for your regular employees, another is for a top level executives kind of thing. Then you need to create two different workspaces for that. And for everything, you will have a development, test, and prod cases. In that case, you need to have a domain in order to specify, also even further segregate, categorize about that. So under sales, what are the domains? Under the HR, what are the domains which we have? I mean, what are the workspaces which we have? So here in this case, I would like to give the name here as sales, for example, because I don't have option here to create here. Actually, it has available on the settings page. So for now, I'll select here as a sales. And then if you want to upload any image, you can add that. And finally, you have option about advanced tab. If you expand that option, you will get multiple options. So who is the contact person for that? Right now, I am the one. And under the license part, you have many options. Previously, it was just like trial, pro, premium per user, and premium capacity. There are 4 license types. And now they added additional thing, which is Fabric one. Embedded is also available previously. I will just briefly tell you about what are these things. So generally, the pro license is a feature which can be applicable for small users. I mean, small companies, they want to share the report within themselves. But for every developer, those who want to publish into Power BI service, like this is the one Power BI service, then they need to have a Power BI Pro license. And also the consumers, I mean the viewer, those who want to access the report, they also need to have a Power BI Pro license. So if this is the case, but if you have a Power BI premium capacity and also for Fabric capacity, there are multiple licenses under the Fabric capacity. If it is like more than F64 kind of license, in that case, you don't need to have a separate license for the viewer. Only the developer and those who want to publish a report into Power BI service, they alone need to have a Power BI Pro license. So trial is nothing but you can have a trial of 60 days and then you can play around with the new features, whatever the thing. Before buying actual license to your organization, you can use a trial license for that. And premium per user is nothing but it's applicable only for Power BI feature, not for the Fabric thing. Because Power BI is only for Power BI, but Fabric in the sense you can see it has showing up here multiple things. Data factory, data science, data engineering, real-time intelligence, all these things comes under Fabric on that. But for Power BI Premium, it's just the Power BI Premium itself. So premium capacity is actually $5,000 US dollar per month, and premium per user is 20 US dollar per user per month. So if the small companies want to try the premium feature, but they don't have a budget for a premium capacity, then they can buy a Power BI Premium per user license, and then they can play around with the premium features in Power BI. All right, so right now I'm just testing out this with trial itself because I can also play around with the Fabric maybe in future. So just keeping up this to be trial, and then here you have option. So we have a semantic model storage format. So we have a small semantic model storage or large one. So what does this two means is, if in Power BI Desktop we have a limitations, if you are using a pro license, then we have a limitations of up to 1 GB of the file size we can load into Power BI service. If it is more than that, then you need to have a kind of large data set model. So here in this case, the small is nothing but it is 10 gigabytes of the data. If it is more than 10 GB of the data, then it has to be large semantic model data set on that. So that's the thing. So right now we are just using a small one itself, so we can just keep it as a small itself. So the last one is here we have a template apps. Template apps are developed for sharing outside your organization. A template app workspace will be created for developing and releasing the app. So if you want to share your reports with other outside organizations, then you can use that. For now, we are not going to do that. So just click on apply. So clicking on that, it's going to create a workspace. Now you can see we have a bootcamp 2024 and 01. So right now this is empty because nothing here. We need to upload the data. If you have it from our desktop, from here we can upload, or from SharePoint we can load, or from browse we can load it from our computer. Or we can open from Power BI Desktop and then we can load it here as well. So every way where we can work on that. So let me click the browse here. Okay, for a trial upload, let me just upload this file and click on open. This is going to upload that. So this is not the usual way to do that. Generally, you need to open Power BI Desktop and then click on Publish in the Home tab. Then it will give you the option what are the available workspace which you have. You need to select a specific workspace and then click on Publish. Then it's going to publish into Power BI service here. So now it has added three files. One is the name of this one and the report, task, owner, and refresh kind of thing. So if you imagine now, like in Power BI Desktop, we usually have one file, but in Power BI Service, it created three files. One is a report, another is semantic model, and third one is dashboard. So here, the dashboard we talked about last time itself in the previous session. So I'm not going to cover that. So the report and semantic model is split separately because we can create multiple reports from this semantic model also. That's also possible if you share this with other people. Or you can also create your own Power BI report based on this data available here. And what we have, so here this option which you have is a list view, and another we have a linear view. So if you click on the linear view, this is going to just show you the details of information from where it has come up here, and these are the sources which is coming up here, and this is the semantic model, and from that we have built a report, and from the build report we have used that dashboard option here. We can anyway switch to the list view. All right. So once we have uploaded any files, you can see a new option here. We'll discuss about that after a few minutes. And here we have a workspace settings. So if you click on that, then this is going to give that option plus some additional options as well. Previously, we have just seen about the name, the domain, and contact person. And after that, we have multiple options here. So one is a premium here. If you want to switch your workspace to any of the premium, then you can also use that. Or if you want to click on any other thing, then after you can select of the option. Like you can click on multiple capacities if you have, then you can switch between the capacity. And the next one which we have here is Azure connections. So Azure Data Lake Gen 2 storage. So connect an Azure Data Lake storage Gen 2 account to store your data flow in your organization's one. So there are two things here. If you're using a Power BI Pro premium per user kind of thing, then whatever the work we are doing up here in Power BI service and the data flow, especially the data which is generated behind the scene for the data flow, everything is being stored in Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2, which is available on there. But it is kind of, Microsoft is not charging us any additional license for that. There is no additional cost for that, but it's actually storing the data inside to that itself. Some of the organizations, they don't want to store the data outside of their premises. In that case, if they have their own Azure account and they have their Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2, then they can connect to their own Data Lake Storage Gen 2 for the data flow activity, plus the each and every log which we are doing up here on Power BI service. Not only us, all the people in the organization, everything can be tracked using the log analytics. If you have your own data lake storage, then you can connect to that here. All right, the next here is the system storage. For every workspace, if you are using a Power BI Pro license, then it comes around like 10 GB of the size. So it's just showing up information how much capacity we utilize out of the 10 GB of the system storage. And the next here is we have a Git integration. That's a recent introduction from Microsoft that like if you are aware of application development, the software application, they usually have a version control, and they also used to have a kind of application lifecycle development process. So this is a part of version control. Before to this, there was no option kind of version control. The only way was that this is actually kind of, I think, premium feature. So if you are still using a pro feature, then the only way which you have is you can upload your Power BI files into SharePoint folder. Because the SharePoint by default has a version control options, then it can take a backup of your file automatically once you are updating the files on a regular basis. If you have a premium license, then you can use the Git integration option where multiple developers can work on Power BI report as well as on the semantic model. That's a separate story where we can learn about that. But in short, we can have a version controlling also in Power BI. The one leg feature is basically related to Fabric. So I don't want to cover it now. And then these are all the other options which you don't require now. Okay, so these are all Power BI connections. Yeah, nothing as such. All right, so these are the some settings. Other topics we don't need to cover it now. All right, so now you have created a workspace, and you also have uploaded a Power BI file. So now the next thing here, you need to share this with your colleagues. So in that case, what you need to do is like you need to click on manage access. There are multiple ways where you can share your reports to the other users. The one is manage access here. To click on that, then you can click on add people, and then you can add the people in organizations. For example, if I add Alex here, who is one of my employee here, that's a dummy case. And then here we have a multiple options. We have an admin, member, contributor, and viewer kind of roles. So what is all about these things? So generally, a Power BI service, we have four different roles. The least is viewer. The viewer cannot do anything. They can just able to read those information, access those information. A contributor is basically they can edit the report, and they can also build their own report in Power BI service. And if they have a Power BI Pro license, they can also publish it into Power BI service from the Power BI desktop file. If you are a member account, then you can create your own report as well, whatever the contributor which you have. And here the list of available points, access kind of thing, where we can have between admin, member, contributor, and viewer. Generally, admin has everything. The only thing member doesn't have is update and delete the workspace, and then add or remove people, including other admins. So these things doesn't have the member access. And what about the contributor? Add members to other with a lower permission. That is not applicable for contributor. Allow others to reshare items. That is also not possible for contributor. They can just build the report, whatever they have access, but they cannot able to give permission to other users in that case. So here from now, I'm just setting this to be a contributor and then click on add. So by doing this, it's actually depends purely on company to company, the policies what they want. So now Alex can have access to all the items available inside to this workspace. So that's if that is not the case you want to share, then you need to remove the user from the workspace. But generally, whenever you are sharing anything, any report to within your organization, you have to share it with your Entra ID group or Azure Active Directory group ID itself. Single user sharing should not be used because there is a heavy cost in the maintenance. If, for example, Alex got transferred to some other company, or he also moved to some other business domain, or he left the company, in that case, we need to go and remove access one by one, and we need to add access to one by one to the new coming user. But if you are using the same thing through Azure Active Directory, which is the Entra ID group, in that case, we can just remove that Alex from that ID, and then we can add a new user inside to that. Then everything, whatever Alex has an access, then the user also will get an access to the same thing. So that's an advantage for that, and we need to use Entra ID in that case. So if you don't want to share the entire workspace, because there are also certain report which is not applicable to this particular user or this particular group, in that case, you need to remove that option. I mean, click on this one, you can just remove the user from here. It removed here. But now how you can share the report? So we just forgot about the dashboard. I will remove the dashboard from here. We'll just keep the report and semantic model on this part. All right, so we need to click on delete here so that we can delete the option and hit delete. It's removed here. All right, so we have a report and data set. So if you want to just share the report, they can just view the report on that case. Then you can just mouse over here and then click on share to the user. Or you can also click here and then go to manage permissions. Then from here also you can share the report to the user. So direct access, click on add users. And when you click on add user, if I even go back to the workspace and click on this share, this is also going to give me the same thing. So here I need to add the username, Alex, and I can just click on send here. But before that, on the top we have options. Specific people can view and share. If you click on this one, so there are options here, people in an organizations or people with existing access or a specific people. So to whom you want to share this information. For example, if you share this report with Alex and if you click on the people in organizations, then you can just set these options and then allow recipient to share this report. In that case, Alex can share this report with other peoples and they can also view the report on their login. That's the option. And here we have option about allow recipient to build content with the data associated with this report. So right now you are just sharing the report, not the data set, which is semantic model. So if you pick this option, then they will get also access to the semantic model so that they can connect to this Power BI desktop and then build the report on top of that. So if you want that, then you can use that. Or if you don't want both of them, they just need to view the report. They don't need to take any other action like to share the report or to build the report. In that case, you need to tick out these two options and then click on apply. So people in your organizations with the link can view. That's the option which is selected here. Even if you share this link with other users, they can also be able to access that. But if you just want to use the specific people like existing access, right now in the workspace, nobody has an access to that. So this is not applicable for that. But if some users have access to the workspace, then you can select these options. But still, if this is a unique report and you want to specific people only, then you can just select on specific people and then you can click on apply. So specific people can view only Alex and then click on send. This will send an email to Alex and from that they can able to view that information. So that's how you can able to do that. And now if I click here and then go to manage setting, I should see direct access, which is Adnan, and also there is the link option available because we shared this to Alex. So who has access? And you can see Alex has access to this one. And the permission here is the read access for this one. So we have not shared the entire report. It's a kind of link which we have shared on this one. All right. Now, if you do the same thing for semantic model, if you click here and then we get multiple options here. We can also create a report directly in Power BI Service. We can analyze the Excel options. But if you want to share here, then you can just click on manage permission. So here I just have access to Adnan, and if I click here, like here we have a share option. We don't have an option here for semantic model. We just have an option to refresh and the option we have scheduled refresh. So if you click here and then click on, you need to load the data here. All right, so click again here. Somehow that option is went away. So if I switch to another workspace and come back here. Yeah. So if I click on now manage permissions, so I can just click on add user. And here if I type Alex, for example. So here they have multiple options. Allow recipient to modify this data set. Allow recipient to share this semantic model. Allow recipient to build content with the data associated with this semantic model and send an email notification. So either of these options which we discussed just before. So if you want to enable these options, then you can tick this option. If you don't, then you can just uncheck and then click on grant access. So once you do so, then you should add also to Alex here the direct access option. Sorry. Yeah. So now you can see in the direct access option, we have Adnan and as well as Alex Wilbur here. And here under the permissions, it is workspace admin because I created the workspace, so I am the admin of that. And under this option, if you want to change something in future also, then you can just click on this one. We can remove reshare option access, and then you can remove the build access. You can also remove the write access. You can also remove the access entirely itself. So it depends, we can modify based on our requirement, we can change that here. So now this is one of the way where we can share this one. We can, if you share this data set, then by default, it's going to share this with the report as well. So whatever you have built the report on top of the data set, they can able to access that as well. So that's one thing. And another thing is like what we have discussed. So one thing is they can access through the workspace, they can access through the semantic model, and they can also access through report. And also there is one more way where we can share this report with the other users, and that's usually the best practice I can say. So we can create this, if for example, if you have a multiple reports inside of this one, and then we can create an app on this one. So here we have option about create an app. On the top we have. So once you click on that, then this is going to create an app for us, and this is the best way to share this with the other users, because this is going to just share the report for the users, not the workspace, not the data set. So you can just give it a name here. So I'll just give it a name here as Bootcamp app itself, and just type the description of that. If you want to add a logo, you can do that. And also you can change the color theme of that. So for example, if I set it to any other color, for example, this one, and here we have option about contact information. Show app publisher, which is going to be, I am the publisher, so it's to show you my information. Show items, contact on the workspace, and show a specific individual on that. So nothing is required for now. And navigation pane on the left hand side, it expand navigation pane by default or collapse. So that's an option it has given. And access to hidden contents, you can turn on and off some feature, you want to do that on that. And global app settings. So install this app automatically. If you do so, then it's going to install to whom you are going to share this information, share this app. It's going to install for the user automatically. Or else you can just allow users to make a copy of this report in this app. If you want to do that, then they can create and build the report on top of that. But once it is app and how they're going to access that, I will show you after the creating of the apps here. So this is the first step. Now moving on to the next one. Here we need to add contents. So even though we have come up from that workspace, but still we need to add a content here. So either we can add a link or we can add a section here. So if you click on this plus icon, then it's going to open up a pop-up window where I need to select the report here. So selecting this report, and you see it is not now giving any options for the dataset semantic model here. Only is going to list out the reports on this part. I think it's also going to show the dashboard as well. So clicking on the add here. So if you have a multiple report and if you want to add any kind of section here, then you can just type here a new section. Under sales, you have this option. So you can just drag and drop inside to this part. Then it's going to load inside to the sales section here. Similarly, you can create multiple sections and then you can add multiple reports and inside to this one. And if you have any other report which is not on this workspace, but still you want to add up here, then you can just click on the add a link options. And from here, add a link, or if you want to add any other information, or you want to add it from a workspace, you can add it from here. But for now, I just want to add it from a link. In that case, let me open up another tab here where I will pick the information from any other report on the workspace. And then we can add a link here. Yeah, I can able to see this. Even on the top, you can see in the address bar, we have the link. So just copy the link here. And here we can just give it a name here, dynamic parameter, and copy the paste link here. And how do you want to open that? You want to open in the content area, which is on this space, or a new tab or a current tab. So it has to be content area. Do you want this to be under any sections? So for now, it is no sections. And then it has to be okay. I think I need to zoom out a little bit. Yeah, click on add here. So now we have a dynamic parameter and you can just realign this part here. So just moving on to the top here, or you can add a new section, which is, let's give it a name here, trial. Zoom in again. So let's move all this to trial. So now we have a trial and sales. All right. So if I click here, adventure work, then I can able to see the information here. That's the report which you develop. And for dynamic employee parameter, so it's giving some error here. The widget content, web content not provided by Microsoft. The web content could be code with security or privacy risk. Yeah, that's what it has mentioned here, even though it's from Microsoft, but somehow it is not giving that. But anyway, so you can just click on add audience now, the third options. So the beauty of this one is here is we can add multiple audience for that. So for example, I can also just go back here, and in the trial, I can just select on this one and click on edit link and just give it a name of this one, TAIK18. So HTTPS www.taik18.com, and then it has to be open in a new tab. All right, click on update here, and no preview available at the visit. All right, so you click on audience here. So we have a multiple audience. So this is first audience, and we can create multiple audience, and then based on that, we can share this information. So for example, if you just want to share it with the sales people, like Alex is the sales one. So you can hide this one for Alex, and then just give the name here, Alex. All right, so this is Alex login, and this has to be, we click advanced. Allow people to share the data set in the app audience, allow people to build the content. It's the same thing which is happening here, which we are seeing up here. But if you restrict everything, then only just keep this unchecked here. And after that, if you want to add a new audience, click on the new audience tab. And this has to be, let's double click here and change the name here. So let's give it this to be sales. And then this has to be all bootcamp. All right. So here I'm not checking anything here. Everything is visible on this part. And this has to be shared to entire organizations. We don't have any option here. Yeah, generally it has to be there, but it's not available here on this case. As we created here multiple all tabs, generally it has to be there. Or if you don't have this option, then no need to worry about that. You can create AD group where everybody can combine into that. In that case, we can use that AD group here. So here I just want to mention it my name here. TAIK18.com, that's it. And then we need to click on OK here. Again, checking the sales, and the sales which is hidden here, and bootcamp, it is everything visible here. So now click on publish app. So this will take, it's just showing that it will take 5 to 10 minutes depending on the data volume which we have. So it is published now, and then you can go to app, or you can just close this option. All right, so in order to access this app, so you need to click on the create on the top. You need to click on the browse here, and under the browse we have option recent favorite. This, I think there must be one more option here. Let me zoom out here. Recent, and then it has to be favorite and shared with me. Generally, it has to be available on this part. They are keep on changing the UI. Sometimes it's difficult actually. Anyway, so you can also, it has to be browse itself. All right, anyway, but we can click also from the workspace. So if we click on the workspace, and from here is giving us only update app. That's strange. And click on update app here, update app. So let's now click on go to app in that case. So it's going to open the app, and this is how the look and feel look like. So I logged in here, I have access to everything. So that's why it's showing up here all, and as well as the sales part, you can see only sales is showing up here, and all bootcamp I can able to see both of them, the trial and sales part here. Now if I log into another user, which is Alex here, and we'll see how it looks in Alex login here. All right, so logged into Alex here, and even though I have not shared the directly workspace access, so Alex may not be able to see that. If I click on the workspaces now, you can see it has shared the workspace as well. That's strange. Okay, let me come back to that later on. So here on the left hand side, you can see we have app sections. Usually this is how the UI look like, but somehow it was disappeared on that part. And also at least I need to have this kind of options in my login. Somehow it is not there. But anyway, so this is how it will look like. On the left hand side, you can click on the apps here. And here I can see only the bootcamp app showing up here. If I click on this app, now I'm getting only sales here because I shared to Alex only the sales one, not the all bootcamp part. But here in my login, it's showing up here two of them, which is sales as well as all bootcamp. So we now restricted this, and even Alex can't able to see the trial option, which is we have it here on the all bootcamp option. That's really cool. So we can create multiple reports inside to your workspace, and you can also create multiple version of the apps and then share to the specific people so that they can have only the required access what they actually need. Now let's go back to this one and we'll just look into the workspace here. If I click on the workspace, it is loading up here. Actually, it should not show here because I have removed the access to Alex, even though I have given the initially, but I removed that access, but somehow it's still showing up here. And that's the reason it is not loading up here. But if I click on any other workspace, now you see it is loaded for Alex here. And if I open up the another workspace, this also it's open up here. Now, if I click on the bootcamp again, it is actually not opening because the access is not there, but somehow the list is showing up here. Maybe this will take sometimes some new updates on that or not. Anyway, so we have this option that we can share this report with Alex. But now we have shared this with through app, so Alex can able to access that. But what if we want to share the report itself, even though Alex doesn't have access to the workspace, and you are not sharing through an app? In that case, on the left hand side, we have a browse option. If we click on that, we have option about recent, favorite, and shared with me. So the user need to click on shared with me, and these are the workspaces reports where it is shared with Alex here. Even though if I click on the workspaces, and here the bootcamp 2002 is the one, and this Alex doesn't have access. And after that, we have a food sales, and we have a DP check, everything coming up from these two workspaces here. So if I click on this one, advanced works, I can able to view this report, and these are the 3 pages which I have. Page 1 and page 2. And if I click on 3 dot icon, let me just check if Alex can able to edit this report. And there is no edit option available for Alex here. So if I zoom in again, and if I go back to my login, and here if I go to the same workspace, and if I open up the report here, here I should see the edit option because I am the owner of this one. I can see this one. You see on the top we have a edit option. So I can edit the report in Power BI service. As we have given only the read access, view access to Alex. So that's the reason Alex doesn't have the access for edit this report. That's cool. So we have covered almost this part. So let's go back to the PPT. This is how we can create a workspace which we have discussed. And then we also discuss about assign workspace role to the users, the admin member contributor, that is also we had discussed. And also how we need to create an app and then we can share this with the users. That's also we had discussed on that. And how to configure and update a workspace app. Yeah, that's also I'll just show you again. For example, if we have made any changes here, let's say for example, if I edit this report and then just realign this here to the bottom here and also just align here, and then we'll just move on to this top here and bottom to this one, just for example. And you need to save this report here, and this is done. Now, if I go to this reading view again, I can able to still see the same new layout here. Or else let's edit this one and quickly change the background in that case. That will be quicker. So click here, canvas background. Let this change to be any different color. This just for, all right. So now we have a different background for the page 1. So if I log into this Alex here and switch to page 1, and now if I refresh this one, I should see the changes here. The reason is I'm directly accessing the report. Yeah, you can see the background is changed here and I can able to see that. Whereas if I go to this app here, okay, app is no more here. Okay, I can see this option now and I can able to see access app here. That's a new introduction because if you zoom here, if you don't have any space here, then that's a good idea actually. They have given option about to pin or unpin option here. So if you want to pin that, I think you can right click here and then you can unpin of this option. Yeah, good. So here we have option about bootcamp. So this is the one. If I click on this one and I can able to see advanced works, if I go to page 1 and still this contains the old UI here. The background is gray itself, it's not changed to this light brown color and the visuals are not mixed color. It's actually properly aligned on this part. So right now what has happened is like we just modified the report but not the app. So in order to also apply in the app, you need to log into the admin, those who are responsible for that, and then they need to update the app. So I logged into my account again, and in the workspace on the top we have, instead of create app, now we have an update app option. So you need to click on update the app, and then if you want to review the changes, I mean what you have done, then you can do that also everywhere, or else you can directly click on update app. So now clicking on update app, this is takes some time. Now if I go back to my Alex login and just hit refresh on this page, now you can see the report has modified, and we can able to see the like different background and also visual in proper align. So this is how we can able to modify the app in that case. And now we can see sharing and managing assets. Okay. So before that, we can just look for the information. So as being an admin and being the report developer, if I go back to the report and clicking on this part, then here we have option about view usage metrics. So this actually gives the information about the last 30 days, I think, or 90 days. It will give the information about who has used on this particular report. So this is actually helpful because if you are developing a report and you want to monitor the usage activity for the entire organizations, then you need to use this information. Yeah, it actually captures the 90 days of the data. And it's going to show you the information about who has viewed the information and what is the frequency of that. For example, if you take an example of this slide, it is showing that this report sales data, actually report opens 11 times, page view 8 times, and unique viewer is 1. And who is the user, it's showing up on this part, and what is the time and date if they have accessed that report. So it just gives the performance of the report, the usage of a particular report. Because based on the business requirement, you have developed something, and if they are not using that, then there is no use case of that. So we need to make the business to use the report, which we have put effort to develop the report. All right. The next thing here is view lineage data, which we also discussed how we can see it. If you have a multiple data sources, then we can also look for the information here, like you can see it on the image here. It's coming from a different data sources, and we have built this report, and from that is going directly to report and dashboard here. All right, so list of artifacts we can create in a workspace. So this actually now change after the fabric, the UI as well as the multiple options. So in Power BI, we can create these many things. Here, there are a few of them are premium features, few of them are not premium feature. And the best thing which I found is like creating other folders. This actually helps to properly manage the thing. Like if you click on these fabric labs here, I have created here multiple labs for the fabric, which is actually also uploaded in YouTube. You can also check out that videos on that. So here we have multiple folders properly aligned. So we can also differentiate that. And also we can create items inside to this folders here. If it is created outside of the folder, then we can also select an item, and then we can move this item to a different folder here. Click select this option and then select this folder from here and click on move here. So once you do so, then it's going to move the item into that workspace, into that folder here. All right. So what is the next one? So which we have is the data protection. All right. So here we need to specify the data protection for our reports. If I go back to the workspace, is this one. Okay, so clicking on this part and then click on settings. I think we need to look for the first report here. So let's go back here and then click on. Okay, one more thing which I want to show is tell you here. The usage metric which we have just saw, right? It's not showing up here because it is not going to be visible on the workspace, and it's going to be applicable, accessible only for the user who have clicked on the report and click on view usage metrics. If the user has left the company, then there is no option to do that. Then other developer, other admin need to click again on the view usage metrics options, or else it will not work on that. So right now you can see it is not visible here. If I click on view usage metrics, then it will open up the report automatically for us. but it's actually happening behind the scenes. So that's the reason it has not showing up here in the workspace. All right, so clicking on this report here, and then we have option about settings. So when you click on that, we have a report name. If you want to modify that, you can modify, you can add the description. And here we can also add a snapshot of the report. But here, main thing, which is endorsement. So we have a help co-workers find the quality content by endorsing the report. So none promoted, certified, and feature on home. So usually there may be like none are promoted or certified. If you are building a kind of self-service BI in your organization, like you want to build a semantic model and standard report and share this semantic model to other business people so that they can also build the report on top of that. In that case, it is recommended to have a certified data set on that. So then only they can able to build the report on top of that. And also if the report is also certified, then they are sure that this is the correct report where they are looking at the information. So generally the none can be development one and promoted can be test environment and certified can be protection one on that. So there are certain settings here which is applicable like persistent filter when you want to save the filter in Power BI service. If the user are changing anything, you can also do that. And display report pages at tabs along with the bottom of the report. So on the left hand side, which showing up here the reports. If you want to show this at the bottom, you can also do that. So visual headers where you can export the visuals and other stuff. If you want to do that, you can use that. And main thing here is like there are plenty of options available here. Is the option which is available on the slides here, which is setting for finance report and sensitivity labels. Okay, it's not showing up here, the sensitivity labels, but I think it's available under the settings of the report. So if you click here and then go to the semantic models and settings, and here we have option about endorsement and discovery. This is also has been promoted and certified kind of thing. And also there must be one option which is for Q&A, data connection, server, query cache, and the stuff. So let's switch here to reports. That's strange. I think they have moved somewhere else that options. I need to check on that. Usually it will have a kind of option like what we are seeing up here, where we can define the sensitive labels on our each and every report. If it is classify and label sensitive label, if it is kind of financial information like HR data, then you can specify that as a confidential internal only. So if the user even export that report into an Excel feature, then also they will get a highlight about this is confidential data. If they export into a PDF kind of thing, then also they will get an option about showing on the top, this is the confidential data for them. So it also helps to enforce governance policies even when Power BI content is exported, monitor and protect user activity and sensitive data in real time, empower security administrations on that part. All right, so this workspace setting we discuss on that part. Yeah, I think this is what we discussed for today, but still I just want to show you one more thing, which is the deployment pipeline. All right, so here we have a deployment pipeline options. So this is a new workspace and we can just click on the create deployment pipeline. Let's assume that this is bootcamp 2024 and then we can just this option here is sample and click on next. So here it's giving option how many stages you want to apply. So you can create up to 2 stages. I mean from 2 stages up to 10 stages you can do that. So actually previously it was like only 3, but later on Microsoft added a new functionality about this. Here we can create up to 10 different stages on that. So they may observe get a feedback from different organizations that they have a multiple scenarios where they want to have a different stages. So they have a given option to create multiple stages. Right now it's development, test, and production. That's totally fine. And click on create. So here on this screen, this assign your workspace to switch state. So if you already have built your Power BI report and everything is on live in production, and you want to start deploying using the deployment pipeline, in that case, you need to click on production first. And the test and development, it will create automatically for you. But if you're just starting up from the development, then you can just click on development and then it will create test and production automatically. Generally, so if I click on assign this task, and it's going to assign this on this workspace. Now here they have given option about deploy. So right now it is not selected any workspace here. You can also select the existing workspace so that it can combine together, or you can also click on deploy. It will going to create a new workspace for you, and then it's going to also load the data, files, everything semantic model from this workspace to that workspace here. Now you see it has created a new workspace, bootcamp 2024-01, and then added also the bracket test here, and copying the content to this workspace. So this is actually helpful in that case. So we'll just now focus on these two parts with the rest of the time. So let me now just open this report and then make small changes here. So I'm opening this report here and then edit here and just realign this again back. Okay, this looks good, this looks good, this looks good. All right, clicking on the save here. But if you assign your workspace initially to the deployment pipeline of this one, so if I click here and deployment pipeline. This is the home screen of deployment pipeline where we can select the deployment pipeline. So this is the one which we created now. Yeah, what I was saying is like if you initially select this to be production one, then this will give option to select backward, I mean deploy backward. So it will deploy to a test and then from here to can deploy to the development one. That is only applicable if you are doing it for the first time. But after doing this backward deployment for first time, from there onwards, you need to start making changes on the development environment first, and then deploy it to test, and then deploy it to production. That's how the sequence has to be there. Only for the first time, you have the flexibility. You can select the development or the production, but from there onwards, you have to go from development, test, and production. All right, now I've just made some changes here. It's not showing up the indicator, which is saying that changes were made to content since the last deployment. It's actually comparing this workspace to this workspace. Now, if you click on the show more option, and then here, let me zoom out a little bit. 25 is fine. Yeah. So if I need to click on this option, when you click on these two arrows, then it's going to specify which item has changes. So here it's showing up here, Adventure Works report has changes. And when you click on this option and click on this option, it's not giving the option to in the data set, if you have made some changes, then it's actually support the option to see in a kind of view comparing two different codes here. But here it's not giving option because this item doesn't support for the change view. Anyway, maybe it will support in future, but not now. It is going to actually show the comparison of two different text also. If you are aware of using the code merging kind of concept, like you can view the different codes on a simultaneously two different window on that. Similar to show you the option. So once you're okay with those changes, then you can click on deploy here. So when you click on deploy, then you can just click here notes and click on deploy. So now this is going to deploy that, and you can also see this has now changed to green option. So this is where you can able to use the deployment pipelines in Power BI service. All right. So final thing which I want to mention is like you can create row level securities in Power BI, and once you have created a row level security, then you can go to the workspace, and then you need to assign that rows to a security group. So sharing a kind of if you are using a row level security, then you need to click on this option and then click on security here. So in here, click on the three dot icon and then click on security. Right now, this is showing RLS has moved to Power BI Desktop because I have not created any row level security for this particular report. That's the reason it's showing up here. But for the existing report, if I go to this demo one and open up any other report which has a row level security, for example, this one, and click on security, then it's going to show us what are the roles which we have created here, and then you need to specify the roles here. I mean the user here. For example, if you want to share this to Alex, then you need to mention Alex here and then click on add and then you need to click on save here. So by doing this itself, this is going to access the report on that. Even if you have shared the report to the end user, unless and until you have specified that user or AD group on the role of security, they're not able to view the content inside to that report here. But in order to apply the role-level security, the thumb rule is the user need to have only the viewer access onto the workspace. If they have this report access, that's totally fine. If they have a viewer access, then also totally fine. But if they have a workspace member or admin, if they have a build permission on that semantic model, then the role-level security will not apply. It's only applicable only for the viewer access on that part. All right, for more information, you can check out the links which I will share you after this meeting onto the website. You can also refer to some videos on the role-level security part. All right, I think, yeah, we are good with for today's session. If you have any questions, please let me know on that.